I got a question. Did you watch? You probably watched the Viceland docs. Did you see the Brody doc?
Saw the Brody doc. Yeah.
Okay, I got a question. Somebody was telling me this because they were telling me this yesterday. I was going to just ask you because you knew we were having you on. Was there with Tony Atlas's version of the story? Somebody told me that Manny Fernandez was calling bullshit on that. Do you know anything about that?
No, but Manny Fernandez wasn't even there then.
Right.
I mean, Tony Atlas, the version of the story. See, I've seen so much of the Tony Atlas stuff, but I mean, the Tony Atlas story that he told on the High Spots Brody doc was very, very similar, if not exact, to the story that he told people 20 or 30, now it's 30 years ago. So he's been pretty consistent. You know, in time, things happen and stories are going to change minorly. That's just the nature of reality, especially when you get old. But I think the gist of the story is pretty much the same. There might be some memories, and then people will jump on those. And it's like, it is 30 years ago. I don't remember things from 30 years ago perfect. I thought, I mean, you know, I was remembering some scene in my life from what was it, 1994, and I remembered this song because I heard the song on the radio. And goes, oh, this is like the scene from, this is like what I was doing when I heard this song. Okay, it was on in the car like 2 weeks ago, and so I just kind of assumed, oh yeah, this song. I remember what I was doing then. And then, for whatever reason, I looked up the song, and the song came out in 95. So it's like, wow, my memory was a little bit off. And that shit happens.
Let me see if you get the same feeling I did when I was watching that. And they were just telling the story of Abdul the Butcher versus Bruiser Brody, you know, the wild man from the Sudan versus this. And they're showing the clips, they're showing the footage, and they're talking about like how the people, you know, were scared of those two, like for a shoot. You know, you're right, exactly. Bro, does it kind of?
I've been in buildings with Brody and Abdul the Butcher, and I was scared too.
Here's the thing. Do you think kind of like wrestling fans today, kind of like the way they act, like they never grew up in that era? So it's kind of like, you know, we went. There was always, even the people that knew it was a shoot, the suspension of disbelief was always kind of in the right place back then because you had monsters and animals and guys that were crazy that you were scared of. Is it kind of disappointing that we don't really see that anymore today?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, things, you know, but things always change. But yeah, it's like if you're a big heel and you get in somebody's face at ringside, they know that they can laugh at you because they could sue you and you're not going to really hit them. When it was Bruiser Brody, even though that was the same thing, I don't think they knew as much. And it was Abdul the Butcher. Yeah. I don't think it even occurred to them that Abdul the Butcher would care about these.
Everybody scattered. Do it. Everybody ran out of the way. Right.
Yeah, you didn't do that. I mean, you didn't see.
Bro, let me tell you this. Dave. I never tell you this story. So I went once in Miami to see a wrestling match, right? And Dick Murdoch was there. And I went and I asked him for an autograph. I was probably 8 years old, and he told me no. And, you know, I left pissed. So that was a heel. You know, today they're trying to sell T-shirts and they're taking pictures, and nobody wants to suspend that aura. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. It's a different business.
Yeah.
There are good things that have been lost in changes in the business, you know, and there's things that are better in changes in the business. I mean, you know, in a sense, it's probably real good that you're a heel and you don't have to worry about anyone shooting you or stabbing you, because guys really did get shot at, very rarely, but it happened. Guys got stabbed a little bit more, but it was rare, but it absolutely, Roddy Piper got stabbed, Ole Anderson got stabbed, Mulligan got stabbed.
I got spit on at the Omni in Atlanta as a fan for standing and applauding the Four Horsemen.
I got one last question here. What's a promotion that, you know, people have sent you, or maybe that you saw in WrestleMania that's really different that people should check out?
You mean I think that as far as I think All Japan is really good right now.
Really?
I think some of the UK groups, a lot of the Americans don't know. I think
like which ones?
I think TNA's or Impact. Impact's much better now that no one's seeing them, unfortunately. I mean, because whenever I watch the show on Friday night, I really like the show.
Yeah, the show is very.
You know, they're a lot better. Your stuff in AAA is a lot better than it was 2 years ago. My God, you know. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. I mean, most stuff. You know, what's funny is most stuff is pretty good right now because, you know, like the wrestlers are more I think the wrestlers are hungry isn't the word, but you're able to learn from more things because so much is available.
Right, there's more learning tools.
There's a different kind, and you know this better than anyone. I mean, as far as because you're the one who finds these guys that are super creative, but they're not necessarily great wrestlers. But the thing is that if you get them young and then you teach them, they can be great wrestlers. Because like the one what was with the private party, which was the tag team that AEW just signed. Okay,
right.
I watched some clips of them, and it's like they do unbelievable things in the ring, like those opening match guys that from Tijuana, type of stuff. It's just unbelievable. But they're not great wrestlers. But and like people are going like, oh, they signed these green guys, and it's like I would sign them too because if they're around really good wrestlers with their athletic ability and creativity,
in 3 years they're going to be incredible.
Yeah, because that's what Ray was. I mean, that's
right.
It's like I think people don't understand like what Ray and Psychosis and these guys when they first started and where they I mean,
right.
It's like
they were
you're
they were
not
like 17 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
But if you've got that and then you learn to be polished, you become you can become an all-time great.
Well, you can put a high spot on Twitter these days, and get work because people think you're like seriously. It's like Twitter.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're right. I know what you're going to say, but like
or a weird gimmick. Like
well, the thing too is like the Twitter. Like Twitter, I don't know if it's good for the business or not. Okay, it's good for promoting the business, but like we're constantly putting crazy stuff up on Twitter, and it's like. Backyard people are doing stuff in their backyard, or like the up and coming wrestlers are seeing like this is the way you get famous. And I think that we could do a whole podcast on that. But I think it's a dangerous path.
Well, idiots clout chasing or trying to get likes and views. That's gonna happen forever. You know what I'm saying? Now they just have a platform on which to do it on and maybe even monetize it. Dave, what do you got going on coming up? Starcast, any one-man shows, or what is it that you got going on?
I'm doing a show at Starcast. Brian and I are doing one show, but I think the tickets are all gone. But we're doing the show with Conrad, where I'm sure that there's going to be tickets available and everything like that. So that'll be in Vegas.
I may make an unannounced run-in with Disco.
But that's really the only thing. I don't have anything else. As far as going on the road and doing stuff, I'm going to PWG in the next show, which I don't even know who's on the card because it's Mystery Vortex.
Oh, it's that Ultra Vortex thing?
Yeah, where you don't even know who's going to be there. And, so but I go there to hang out with my friends and watch like really great wrestling because PWG is just, you've been there. It's just like fun from start to finish.
Dave, weren't you announced for the next Jericho cruise as well?
Yeah, I am going to the Jericho cruise. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. That's going to be tough because I'm going to be coming back. I'm planning on going to Japan with my son for New Year's, and then coming right back and going on the cruise. But yeah, very much so. And I hear that his tickets are going real well. I'm really looking forward to the Jericho cruise.
Do you want to plug your podcast, The Observer, Dave?
Yeah. So Brian Alvarez and I, and also Garrett Gonzalez and I do shows multiple times a week.
Who's the third guy?
Garrett Gonzalez.
Who's that?
We haven't done a show together yet.
Who?
Oh, he's like one of my best friends.
Who? Garrett Gonzalez.
Garrett Gonzalez, yeah.
Where's he from?
He's from San Jose. I've known him for years.
Does he?
Does
he have a podcast of his? Does he have a podcast of his own?
No.
Oh, hook him up with Joe. He'll give a podcast on the Credit Control Network.
Yeah, absolutely.
He actually does a fight game blog on his own, which is like a boxing and pro wrestling, an MMA thing. And so when I do the show with Brian, it's like mostly pro wrestling and MMA. When I do it with Garrett, we'll talk NBA and we'll talk because he's a super big basketball fan. We'll talk boxing and baseball a little bit, not that much, but a little bit. So it's more the stuff with Brian and I is more like heavy wrestling, and the stuff with Garrett and I is like people describe it as like two friends just at 10:00 at night talking about the news of the day and anything else that pops up that may not be news. So it's different. It's a completely different vibe.
When you and Brian do Raw reviews, do you have more downloads when the show is terrible or when it's great?
I have no idea. I think when it's great though. I think when it's terrible, people don't want to hear about how terrible it is for a long period of time.
Thank you to Dave Meltzer for returning to Keeping It 100 with Conan, and you can, of course, keep up with all of Dave's work at f4wonline.com. Subscribe to the Wrestling Observer now.